Imagine this. The man I was about to marry laughed right in my face when I brought up a prenup. "Elena, you're nothing without me," Marcus said, smirking like he'd already won. "Sign it or we're done." His family clapped like it was the greatest victory speech ever. I wiped a fake tear, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "Okay, take everything you want." He signed the papers with that smug grin, never bothering to read past page 3. He definitely never made it to page 12. But when the judge adjusted his glasses in that quiet courtroom and started reading Clause 7 out loud, his whole world collapsed in seconds. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Have you ever watched someone celebrate too soon? Stick around, because this revenge wasn't loud, it was surgical. Ever fall for someone so fast you ignore the warning signs flashing in neon? I did. Marcus swept into my life at that charity gala, tall, polished, always dropping lines about building an empire together. Flowers every week, weekend getaways, promises that felt like fairy tales. 6 months later, he popped the question with a ring that screamed old money. But then the mask slipped. He started making little comments about my modest job, my simple apartment. One night, I overheard his mother Vivian on speakerphone. "She's just a gold digger waiting to happen. Make sure she signs away every claim before you tie the knot." My stomach dropped. Marcus laughed it off when I confronted him. "Babe, relax. We need a prenup to protect what's mine." Then he slid the draft across the table, pages and pages protecting his assets, leaving me with almost nothing if things went south. He mocked me. "Don't worry, you'll still get half my Spotify playlist." I forced a smile. Ever had someone look at you like you're temporary? I nodded slowly and said, "Okay, let's do it your way." But my attorney, Mr. Reynolds, leaned in after Marcus left the room and whispered 4 words that lit a fire in me. Add Clause 7. What happened next would make Marcus wish he'd actually listened. Picture the scene: a cold conference room, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, stacks of legal papers spread like a trap waiting to snap. Marcus walked in like he owned the building. Vivian right behind him, pearls gleaming, already smiling like she'd won before the game started. Derek had his phone out, recording for the family archive. They all looked at me, with the same pitying smirk. I sat there, eyes down, letting a single tear roll for effect. Marcus leaned over, voice dripping honeyed venom. "See, Elena? This is what happens when you try to play in our league. Sign it. You're nothing without me." His family actually applauded when he put pen to paper. Quick, careless strokes, barely glancing at the pages. He didn't flip past page 3. Never saw the tiny header on page 12. Clause 7. I signed too. Quiet. Steady. Inside, my heart was racing with something that felt dangerously close to joy. 2 years later, the mask finally cracked. He filed for divorce, demanding the house, the cars, every cent he could grab. Then we stepped into that courtroom, and the real show began. What happens when the man who thought he owned you finally steps into a room where money can't buy the truth?
Courtroom.
Marble floors. Echoing footsteps. Marcus sat ramrod straight, arms crossed, whispering to his lawyer like they'd already won. Vivian dabbed her eyes dramatically in the gallery. Derek scrolled his phone, probably already drafting the victory post. The judge asked about assets. Marcus leaned forward, voice smooth as silk. She agreed to everything in the prenup. The house, 2.1 million, cars, investments. It's all mine. His attorney slid the document forward like a trophy. My lawyer stood slowly.
Calm.
Almost bored. Your Honor, before we finalize division, let's review Clause 7. Page 12. Marcus snorted, rolled his eyes. Fine print nonsense. The judge cleared his throat, adjusted his glasses, and began to read aloud. Any assets acquired during the marriage, unless obtained through fraud, coercion, or bad faith, trigger full forfeiture to the non-breaching party. The room went dead silent. Marcus's smirk froze. Then the judge looked straight at him, and everything he'd hidden came crashing down. Ever seen a man's entire empire crumble in under 30 seconds? The judge's voice cut through the silence like a blade. Due to documented evidence of material concealment and bad faith, offshore accounts, falsified financial disclosures, the prenup's forfeiture provision under Clause 7 is hereby activated. All marital assets are awarded to the petitioner, Ms. Thompson. Marcus's face drained white. His mouth opened, closed, no sound came out. Vivian gasped so loud the bailiff turned. Derek dropped his phone. Marcus finally found words, stammering, desperate. This can't be right. I didn't. My attorney slid the folder forward. Bank statements. Emails. Proof he'd lied about everything to keep control. The judge adjusted his glasses again. You signed it, Mr. Hale. You celebrated. You never read page 12. I stayed perfectly still, watching the man who'd called me nothing lose the house, the cars, the investments, everything. He looked at me, eyes pleading now. I met his gaze and said one quiet sentence. You wanted everything. Congratulations. You have nothing left. But the real twist? That wasn't even the end of his humiliation. So yeah, he laughed. He took everything. He signed with that smug little smirk while his family clapped like idiots at a bad magic show. Until Clause 7 turned the whole game inside out. Marcus lost the house he bragged about, the cars he polished obsessively, the investments he thought were untouchable. All because he hid the truth and never bothered to read what he was actually signing. I walked out of that courtroom with more than assets. I walked out with proof that quiet doesn't mean weak. Never underestimate someone who lets you celebrate too soon. Karma doesn't scream. It just reads the fine print. If you've ever been written off, underestimated, or straight up betrayed, drop a like, hit subscribe for more stories like this, and tell me in the comments, would you slip in a Clause 7? What would your revenge look like?